Hi. Today I wanted to walk through how I'm caring for my Corybas orchid. It's also called a helmet orchid. There's really not very much information about how to care for these online. There's a great Facebook group. That's where I got most of the information that I ended up using, so I would definitely check that out. But yeah, this one seems kind of new to cultivation. I had to order this tuber, and then I got a tuber. I didn't even know what to do with it really, but this is what I did. It doesn't look like mine will bloom this year, and apparently that isn't always a sign that you're not taking care of it. I guess some of them just don't, but hopefully I get extra tubers next year anyway. So yeah, I'll walk you through what I did. I have this closed basically all the time, and I can walk through that later, but I'll open this up. So, all right. As far as soil, that was the first question I had, and sort of the first mystery. If you know anything about Nepenthes pitcher plants, you're off to a really good start. The I would say the formula I used is very similar. So it was probably roughly half moss and half orchid medium. So when I say like basically orchid mix. So there was orchid bark in there, but also perlite. I also put in some charcoal. So yeah, I would say it really probably within the moss portion, maybe half of it was dead, half of it or dried, half of it was live sphagnum moss that I had. As far as the orchid bark goes, I was told to include some more broken down parts, like broken down bits of orchid bark, because apparently this orchid wants that as nutrition, or that's what they said, that creates a more nutritious environment versus like brand new orchid bark that is not going to break down for a very long time. Um, so I was, I included some bits that were a little bit more kind of, blackened and like looking like they were kind of old. I also I chose a clear container, and I'll turn this over a little bit so you can see. A clear container that then would let me see the tuber a little bit. So I used clear plastic. I'll just lift the, sort of veil, I guess. I also put some holes in the side and the bottom for kind of airiness. I did this, and then I read that that wasn't necessarily needed. I feel like I would do that again just because I would want some, water flow and airflow. Just with orchids, that makes me feel more comfortable, I guess. But apparently, you don't need to do that strictly or anything. I also fed it a little bit. So I used a urea free fertilizer. I used Maxi. Um, and I can put a link to that or something in the video if people are curious. But I used this very sparingly. I would say I sprayed like 3 sprays in the beginning, kind of into the medium, like kind of around it or something. And that was it. I think one time when I noticed the moss was kind of looking sorry, I sprayed it again. And this would have been sort of months in. So very little food. It just kind of sits there. Um, as far as planting the tuber, I don't know about an orientation that would be helpful. I think I had a tube, I had the part of the tuber that looks like a bean. There's that, and there's kind of a tail, like some root maybe coming out. I don't know. That part, I think I just pointed to the side. I wasn't sure if that was going to grow up or down. I also tried to put the tuber close to the clear side so I could monitor its health at that point. And I think right now you can't see much of the tuber anymore. The tuber would have been around here. So kind of medium depth, close to the side. So I just wanted to monitor it, I guess, but not on the side because I wanted it to get all of the moisture from all the different sides. Um, Okay, so you have it planted, you have it, have it wet. I would say the first few times, I really wet it all the way through. And if you could see here, I'll zoom out. This is a tray. So it would get wet, it would go all the way into the tray, and you can see now that the tray is dry. Like it doesn't remain super wet, or like sitting in a puddle, I would say. But I did that, and then really, this is like a simple IKEA, glass bell jar. I kept this closed, and I really kept it closed. Like you don't open this. And some people say that no air exchange is really needed. They just poke a couple holes in whatever container they have. Um, but I found myself, I would maybe open it like once a month and check on it. So this is really one of those plants that you just kind of sit and you kind of forget about it. So low maintenance, but it's not like you're looking at this thing all the time. You're kind of enjoying it when it comes up for its time of the year. Um, so what else about this? So as far as where I put it light wise and temperature wise, I put this near a grow light, but as in like, in the same vicinity of one. It was getting light from the grow light, but it was probably, gosh, 4 feet away, like very far away. I tried to kind of mimic like a forest floor, like very indirect light. It was also on the floor, which I would say stays coolest. It was near a window with my other orchids, so kind of on the cooler side. But really, I opened up the windows. It was subject to summer temperatures. It also got a bit of sunlight as the sun passed that part of the room, so it was not kept dark. I just was trying to really give it some seasonal cues. So I was trying to give it more sunlight at certain points. I was trying to give it, colder nights and then warmer nights in summer. Um, and this came up in the last couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks ago or so. And it came really as summer was waning for me. So I think it stopped getting direct sunlight. It was still getting that grow light. And by the way, that grow light is on for 16 hours a day. So it's a pretty long day. But again, super indirect, not on the table near the grow light at all, like under the table, kind of away from it. And, so it's lit, but it was not, receiving enough light that like a Nepenthes would want, say, or even my orchids. My orchids get far more light than this, or normal orchids, sorry. Um, but yeah, I guess other information about this. This one is Corybas geminigibbus. And I guess that's a fairly common one. People say it's not the easiest one, but it was the one that was available when I was ordering. And this is just one tuber. I guess one tuber becomes one leaf. And as far as I understand, I'll kind of lift this up a little bit. This is not quite a mature leaf. So it's a little bit pointed. It's kind of pointed toward the light. So maybe this means it can have more light next year. That's kind of what it would seem to me. And I know, or I've read that you'll be able to tell right away if one of these is going to bloom, because they'll have kind of a bud right away. And I just don't see anything that looks like a bud right now. I will say that I think this is still immature. Like, I think what is going to happen is that it's going to grow up and then flatten. I've seen pictures of kind of like a flattened, like, shield almost looking, and then right in the middle of that is the flower. So I feel like this isn't quite done growing. Maybe, I mean, I have a little bit of hope that there will be a flower this year, but yeah, probably not. So I think that covers the basics. At this point, now that it's up, when I saw it, I then wet it again. Again, I didn't soak it. I think I took a spray bottle. I was wetting it until water started to come out of the bottom. Just, kind of like you would have moss, I guess. I clipped back a little of the moss that was around it, and then I just covered it back up again and kept it in its spot. I thought if it flowers, then I'm going to bring it out into a more prominent spot. But yeah, again, this is geminigibbus. Um, I'm not really sure about dormancy yet. I just think I won't change anything. I will wait for the plant itself to lose the leaf, and then maybe look for another tuber down there. I have to do some research on there, and I think what I'm going to do is just cut the water back and let this dry out a bit more. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions on this. Again, this was a really hard one for me to find information on, so hopefully this is helpful. And hopefully I can direct you to answers, or show you what I did, or tell you what I did if you have one of your own that you're trying to grow. So hope everybody has good luck with these, and let me know if you have questions. Thank you.